Fulton County Judge Ural Glanville has been forced to reveal their secret meeting. In fact, he's now providing the entire transcript of the conversation to the defense team in the YSL RICO trial. Now, it might have helped if he provided this transcript earlier, as the calls to have him removed are still in play. In fact, the situation has become worse for the prosecution as this trial is now effectively on pause. Now, this is not good news for Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. Now, as you guys might know, her office is leading the prosecution with Assistant DA Adriane Love, the same attorney who had a shouting match with Judge Glanville regarding evidence related to this case. We're now going to have to wait until an outside judge reviews the motion for Glanville's recusal. Many critics argue that the corruption in this case is extraordinary and that it will probably help the state to try and prove to the people that the justice system works by removing this judge. Now, although this secret meeting was done without the knowledge of the defense team, Glanville still argues that this was a proper ex parte conversation. Now, despite this claim, many legal analysts believe that his recusal is inevitable. Now, be sure to stick around, guys, until the end, because you are going to be shocked by what the prosecution told key witness Kenneth Copeland behind closed doors.
Today in the YSL RICO trial in Fulton County, the trial of Young Thug and others is on pause for consideration of a motion to remove the judge.
Fox Eyes Tom Haynes joins us now in studio with the latest on the trial. Tom?
Well, guys, Fulton County Judge Ural Glanville was actually scheduled to hold a private review today of a meeting from earlier this month. That meeting was canceled. The meeting took place between witness Kenneth Copeland, his lawyer, the prosecution, and Judge Glanville after Copeland initially refused to testify for the prosecution. But Young Thug's primary attorney, Brian Steele, learned of the meeting and confronted the judge. When Steele refused to tell Judge Glanville who told him about the meeting, Steele and other defense attorneys filed motions to have Judge Glanville disqualified or recused from the case. He then said he will release a transcript to the lawyers. Today, Judge Glanville announced court will be in recess while a motion for his removal is considered by another judge.
Sending Mr. Adams and Steele's, Mr. Weinstein, and Mr. Banks' motion to recuse to another judge pursuant to Uniform Superior Court Rules 25.1 through 25.7 in the method and manner prescribed by our local rules. So this written order is entered. I will enter the order transferring it, and until such time as those two things are decided, then we'll be in recess until that time.
So there's now a very high probability that we see Judge Glanville removed from this case. By the way, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel, and I want to thank y'all as always so much for sharing these videos. It totally does help out the channel a lot. Thank you guys. And we're now at a point that the judge is now coming clean about everything. Right as July started, the judge gave the details of their conversation, admitting that everyone but the defense team was in this secret meeting. DA Fani Willis's team had complete control over the conversation with key witness Kenneth Copeland. The judge then cited the timestamps as to what was happening and who exactly was talking to Copeland. Now, as far as I can tell, the prosecution had Copeland for almost 3 hours, and he spent at least half a day in court. Now, I'm going to get to the transcript at the end, but let's focus on Glanville right now. There are many who believe that this isn't the judge's idea. He doesn't want to share to the public that he did this together with the prosecution. Now, obviously, because it paints him in a very bad light. There are those who say that there was some higher power or someone higher who ordered the judge to give out this information. Although we're not really certain who that was at this point, but we're pretty sure he didn't do this voluntarily. So here's the thing, guys. The belief now is that the prosecution wanted to get this thing wrapped up and that they needed to intimidate a witness in order to get what they wanted. This is exactly what critics are saying. And many people are not putting it past DA Fani Willis to go this route. At this point, this trial has now been going on for 8 months now? This also means that the jury has wasted around the same amount of time. This is because the judge chose to bend the rules for the prosecution, and it's now biting them back pretty hard. All he had to do was inform the defense team of this conversation. This is why Brian Steele was so heated when he found out about it, because it was completely unprofessional. Not to mention that the judge knows what he should have done in the situation. But you guys know what happened next. He threatened the defense attorney. He wanted him held in criminal contempt, all because he wouldn't reveal his source, which also brought us a very amazing clip where Judge Glanville got schooled by attorney Ashley Merchant. She argued that what the judge wanted pertained to civil contempt, not criminal. Big difference. Apparently the judge didn't know that. Or maybe he did and he was trying to pull a fast one. Who knows?
Judge, just for the record, is the criminal contempt, is it criminal contempt that you held him in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said you had a hearing earlier today.
With criminal contempt, I told him what the contempt was, and that was he refused to tell, order the court. If counsel, as you know, if the court orders you to do something and you don't, that's criminal contempt. So I've asked him several times, please just tell me who it is that told you. That I didn't ask or inquire about anything that was said. I just want to know who it was. Okay. Because he's got too much detail of this particular alleged conversation for the court to be concerned about it. So.
And Judge, since it is a criminal contempt, he is entitled to due process. He's entitled to a hearing, entitled to an actual show cause, entitled to the allegations actually written, entitled to a witness list. We're entitled to present our own witness list. And notice of that.
Criminal contempt is different. It is on the spot. So he's gotten the due process he's going to get. That's on the spot. I told him. Plus he's had all day to tell me who it is that is it. So a little different, Ms. Merchant. I'm going to disagree with you, but okay.
Judge, just for the record, it's that's direct. So what you're holding him in is in direct criminal contempt.
Yes.
The issue with the direct criminal contempt is whether or not to actually hold a hearing now, whether or not it needs to be held immediately. And the problem is, if you hold him in direct criminal contempt, as you're saying that you did, you are a witness to that proceeding. And so it has to be referred to another judge. Doesn't require recusal. You actually have to sua sponte send it to another judge because you are a witness to the proceeding.
Show me the case law that says that, Ms. Merchant.
It is In re McClarty. It's 152 Georgia App 399. And it says that is one of the cases. Also, two other cases, In re Adams, 215 Georgia App 372.
Well, 1 second. Give me the name of the first case again. In re what?
Do you want just the number, Judge?
Yeah, I would. Thank you.
215.
215.
Georgia App.
Georgia App.
372.
Okay.
Also 215. Georgia App. 349.
Okay.
That's Adams and Hasty.
You have anything a little more current than 1994?
Hasty is 94. Unfortunately, contempt of attorneys is not a common proceeding, so most of the cases are a little bit older.
But this shows you the huge difference between the defense and the prosecution team because, like I said time and time again, guys, this is not about who's guilty or who's not. This is about going by the book. The defense team, they had a right to know that this meeting was going to be held. And that's just how the law works. And I'm hoping that this applies to Fulton County as well. The prosecution is hoping that a schedule or at least a timeline can be provided. But that's not the case. Their mistake now led to this case being indefinitely put on hold. However, this did not stop the prosecution from requesting for this pause to be expedited. But Glanville flat out said that this is now out of his hands. They're going to have to wait and see what happens. Now, what's funny is that the prosecution said that they were doing this for the sake of the jury, the same jury who's wasted more than 100 days on this thing, which now brings me to a part of this ex parte conversation that came out. Now, I'm thinking that Fani Willis's team is a little bit worried right now, especially if this entire transcript is released to the defense team. Now, some analysts believe that this might actually lead to a mistrial. So here's what Fulton County Deputy District Attorney Simon Hilton had to say to Kenneth Copeland at one point in this secret meeting. He said, quote, "You will not. This order, I don't know if you kept your copy of this order, but the order says you are immune from prosecution, any of it." Literally, Judge, you might want to close your ears. If you confess to a murder on the stand, if we don't have any other independent evidence outside of what you say on the stand, you are immune from prosecution from what you say in court. Can you imagine that? A prosecutor telling the judge to cover his ears before he said something to a witness? How insane is that? There's 55 other pages that we're going to cover soon, but just this part alone kind of tells you a lot about what's happening in that meeting. Speaking of which, the recent debate between President Joe Biden and Donald Trump also told us a lot about the two. And now the focus is on President Biden and the rate at which his cognitive decline has sped up in recent years. I did a previous video that you guys definitely need to check out as I discuss the panic that is being felt by the Biden campaign together with the entire Democratic Party. But as always, I really appreciate y'all for hitting the like button for the video. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing this video, and I'll see you on the next one.